Just after the Maharashtra poll results were announced, the online news platform The Wire, headed by Siddharth Varadarajan, came out with a conspiracy theory. It said the total number of votes counted was higher than the total number of votes polled. Thereafter, the Election Commission of India issued a clarification, and the Wire had to swallow their own words. They issued an apology, which appeared as a note of the editor in the online portal. Then, was it simply a case of being more, or Siddharth Varadarajan being more loyal than the king, or it just reflected his poor mathematics? Of course, he might have been poor in mathematics. That was why he took up the job of a journalist. Otherwise, he would have taken up something else. But was it simply that? I don't think so. Because the Wirehead has a habit of repeatedly making such costly mistakes, then apologizing, and he gets away with it, manages to get away because of the goodwill of political parties. You see, if Rahul Gandhi had made such an impulsive remark, one could pardon him because he might have put so much effort into the elections and he might have had great hopes about coming into power in Maharashtra, which would eventually lead him to come to power in Delhi. So at the moment when you hear that your party had faced a humiliating defeat at the polls, then it is natural for any political party to get upset. But that's not the case of a journalist. A journalist is supposed to be impartial. Keep every political leader at a hand's distance. Not just a political leader, even big businessmen or entertainers, everybody should be kept at a hand's distance. A journalist needs to interact with each and everyone, but a journalist should not get too close to anyone. So I think these basic principles might have been sacrificed. Otherwise, such costly mistakes won't happen. So in the interest of journalism, in the interest of politics, let's have a detailed analysis of the whole report. Welcome to Insights. This is Hari Kumar. Let's start with the report of The Wire. The Wire report said the total votes counted in Maharashtra elections was 6 crore 45 lakh 92,508. But the total votes polled, according to The Wire, was much less than this. That is 6 crore 40 lakh 88,195. And the truth is that The Wire didn't take into consideration around 5 lakh 38,225 postal votes. The Wire actually went by the EVM votes only. So you have to add EVM votes plus postal votes. Then, when you add postal votes and EVM votes, actually the number is a bit more higher, but all the total postal votes are not valid. So you have to remove the number of invalid votes also. Then it became clear. So without verifying those things, The Wire published such an article. That's a grave mistake. See, a person who had been editor of the Hindu, of course, I know that I had also worked in the Hindu. I know that he had to leave the organization, and at that time there were many reports which said about the allegations raised against him. There were allegations that he was totally partial against Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the BJP. But I think when he started his own venture, he should have been more careful. I am not saying that he should not criticize anybody or he should not criticize institutions. these institutions are sacrosanct, they should not be criticized. I don't believe so. There is no sacred cow. Let me clarify. I don't believe like that. But when you raise allegations against someone, you need to be responsible. And nobody should say that you are a reprobate journalist. Nobody should accuse you of recidivism. You cannot commit the same mistakes again and again. See, a couple of years ago I read that the Wire reported that the BJP had access to some particular application or app which helped them to manipulate social media platforms. Then I think a case was filed against him. Then immediately he apologized. So, floating conspiracy theories, then apologizing when somebody criticizes or retaliates, that doesn't give you respectability. Actually, news platforms like The Wire harm, bring harm not just to themselves. They bring harm to an entire industry. They discredit the whole journalistic community, you see. If a particular newspaper writes constantly against someone else, and eventually it becomes clear that he had been fabricating lies, and he had been throwing around half-truths and lies as journalism, that was eventually that will discredit the whole community. Even if somebody else did some good job, bring out some truth, even then politicians will get room to allege that this guy is a fake. So a bad journalist actually brings disrepute to the whole community. I'm sad to say like this, but that's the truth. See, all this began when the whole media started taking sides in India. I think the situation escalated during the second UPA government, when they manipulated media houses. See, afterwards there started a vicious campaign against Narendra Modi when he stood in elections. I repeat, I don't think Narendra Modi is above criticism, or Amit Shah is above criticism. If they do commit some mistake, we should have the courage, we should have the honesty to point it out and criticize them. But fabricating lies, fabricating stories, that will discredit us, and nobody is going to believe even if Siddharth Varadarajan says truth in the coming days. See, what a fall, my countrymen. This is what happened to journalism. You know, once you are branded as a partisan journalist, there is no going back. You will have to continue doing that to a greater intensity. I mean, the same happens to people who supports even BJP also. So this happened. They will also eventually lose their credibility. You are not supposed to take sides, at least publicly, openly. Okay, there may be influences in your writing. As you are a human being, so you may have some love for some ideology, some love for some leader, and that could reflect, but that should be subtle. At least when you do commit a crime, this is my request to Mr. Siddharth Varadarajan. When you break rules, at least try to be sophisticated. You are a Western educated, I think you are a US educated guy. So you should have known such tactics, and I think you possess such language also. And when you have such skills, apply it. Otherwise, you have become the butt of a joke. I'm sorry to say that but as a journalist, I think when I come across such newspaper reports, when I come across such modern day journalists who repeatedly, blatantly take sides, and who thinks that this is the way journalism goes, I think you are misleading the future generation also. So I think we need to respect institutions. We need to get their response before publishing or writing a story. I think the Hindu used to do that. Whenever we published a news story, we used to call the official concerned or politician concerned and would seek their response also. So I agree that that gives room for manipulation. Maybe when the other guy knows that you are going to publish such a story, he will try to influence you, the journalist, first. Then, if he is unable, then he will try to manipulate the management. When if it is that is unable, he may try to use his power. But as a journalist, one is supposed to walk through this fire and walk through the cold. There is no escape. Journalism is actually from the frying pan to the burning coal. Let's hope the media, or like the wire, will be more judicious the next time they come across some startling news, and just keep your impulses with you, verify it, and then go public. Thank you, and meet you again with another story next time. Till then, goodbye.